Okay, hi everyone. Welcome
Hello.
back to Unraveling It Bliss.
Another Wednesday.
We're here today to untangle changes happening in our bodies, minds, and lives. And then we like to uplift one another with truth, compassion, and practical solutions. Today, we're tapping into Jen's expertise. And I know you're going to say we're not experts.
Right. We're not experts. This is where I use the soft voice and say we are not experts.
But Jen has been in this industry for most of your career.
Yeah, I don't want to age myself, but I guess when I really started getting into hair care was I was a buyer at Ulta, and one of the categories I managed was hair care. So that was probably my first intro into Ulta, into beauty, into hair care. But I've been a lifelong junkie of beauty products. So I try everything, I read everything. I just sort of submerge myself in all things beauty related. And now my day job is I work for a contract manufacturer where we manufacture beauty products, one of them largely being hair care. So it could be on the value side where it is things that you could buy like at a value channel, dollar stores, drugstores, and then all the way up to salon and premium. So we have a chemistry lab, we're making product, we explain and educate to our customers about product. So that's largely where my background comes from, besides being a super user.
And Jen is my go-to person when I have questions about things in the beauty and hair industry. I'm always like, hey, Jen, do you know or would you recommend, even just the other day, actually, on nails? I was like, hey, I need some stick-on nails. Which one should I go to?
Yeah.
And Jen has usually tried them firsthand.
Yeah. Or read about them or know someone who's tried them or, But so that's how we got here, right? Because we went out to our Facebook community.
We did.
And we asked people what are their biggest beauty questions, their beauty blunders, and across the board, hair care was number one.
It was.
Yeah.
I think most of the questions on there were around how can I make my hair grow more? How can I have it thicker and longer? And then also, how can I stop losing it? I think we've hit that age where we are seeing a difference in our hair texture, our hair quantity, our hair quality. And then we have grays coming in as well.
So much fun. So much fun. Yeah, the realities.
So today we're going to take that. We're going to actually talk about this, which I think is deeply personal and incredibly common. Thinning hair during perimenopause and menopause. I think of my hair's almost defined a lot of me throughout my life. I went through periods when I was younger. I used to go to a Toni and Guy salon.
Oh, yes,
if anyone can remember Toni and Guy.
Oh my gosh, they were so popular. Yes.
Well, I went to their school. So I, not as a student, but as a participant, they needed people to try things out.
Yeah, you got a discount for going to the school. Yeah.
So I lived in London. This was in my 20s where I was like, my hair will grow back. It's fine. And I would go and get my hair done for free. And one time I came out with very little hair and
we've all done that.
It was an interesting journey.
Yeah.
Because suddenly I felt very different.
Insecure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was hard work to keep it short, harder work than to have it longer. And I realized how much my hair actually defined me as a person.
Yeah.
I also wore red one time. I had red hair and,
I would like to see pictures of that face.
It was like a coppery red.
Yeah, if we could take those out, that would be great.
And then I had perms. And through each of those different phases, I have felt there was positives and negatives, and it never truly felt like it was me.
Yeah.
So I think you find your hairstyle, you get used to how you care for your hair. Like I think about my daughter right now, she has very, very thick hair, like an abundance of it. It's got like a wave and a curl through it, and it actually drives her wild. Like she has keratin treatments because there is so much of it.
Well, everybody wants what they can't have.
Right.
If your hair's too thin, you want it thicker. If it's too straight, you want it curlier.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, we as women, we create our own monsters because we're always trying to maintain the beast that is your hair. And then as soon as you hit this stage where maybe you get in your rhythm of what your hair is, I think there is that experimental phase when you're younger that you're going to try different colors and different textures and do different things. And then you get to, probably your 30s and 40s and you're like, okay, this is my hair comfort zone. And then hormones kick in.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to get into today. Yeah.
So a few things that may resonate with you. Maybe your ponytail feels smaller. Maybe your scalp is suddenly more visible around the crown. Maybe your hair texture has changed completely, becoming dry, brittle, fragile, or difficult to style. And whilst often people are very quick to say, oh, this is just a cosmetic thing, don't be so vain. It's all just about your appearance. Hair is tied to identity, femininity, confidence, vitality, and how we recognize ourselves in the mirror. I was overhearing something the other day, and I can't quite recall where it was from, maybe an advert on the radio. And it was someone saying that, oh yeah, I'm a child of the 80s, and I look in the mirror, I look at these photos and I'm like living my 80s life. And then I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself anymore because I'm no longer that person in the 80s.
Yeah. Which can be good and bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like
especially for the perm.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of those things need to be buried.
I had bangs.
Yes. Oh, jeez.
There was a lot going on.
Okay.
I also think there's that misconception as well that this is a male issue.
Right.
Like we are in society used to seeing men lose their hair as they age.
And that's okay for them. Like when men go balding, I guess a lot of people think that's normal.
Yeah.
And they can just shave their head and be like, well, I'm embracing their baldness to a certain degree. But as women, I mean, it's a huge concern. It can be horrible for your self-esteem. It can really break down who you define yourself as, like Claire said, as a woman. And there's a lot of information out there. And, well, we're unraveling that today. Yeah.
So just a few facts before we start digging into some of these pieces, Jen, as you as our expert today on the hair. Expert, not expert.
Right.
Because we are not.
Yeah, keeping ourselves out of trouble here.
Yeah, we are. The reality is that nearly 2 out of 3 women experience hair thinning through menopause. But what's important to understand is this menopause-related hair loss is not caused by just one thing. This is a layered biological shift involving declining estrogen, collagen loss, reduced scalp circulation, androgen activity. I don't even know what that is, Jen. I'm really interested to find out more about that. Stress, I know what that is. Inflammation, and changes in the hair growth cycle itself. So today we're unpacking the science behind what's happening to the body, to the hair follicles during menopause, what treatments are actually evidence-based, what's mostly hype, and how women can support healthy hair from the inside out. So let's start by unraveling the science today and uplift ourselves with some real answers and hopefully give answers to our Facebook community that were brave enough to share their questions with us.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to unravel this. This was tough for me to do, honestly, because I found myself in preparing for this episode going down a ton of rabbit holes because there is so much information on there. And we really try to be mindful of, our community's time. And we try to keep most of the episodes around 30 to 40 minutes. And I had to, usually Claire and I sort of wing it on these podcasts. Maybe you've noticed, maybe you haven't. And we don't really go off too many notes. We have some pointers of what we want to talk about, but I really had to take a lot of notes here because I wanted to keep it tight and focused. And again, there's so much noise, especially in this world of social media that we live in. I think there's always something new out there and people are looking for hope in a jar. They're looking for a promise in a bottle. And we lack patience, which we'll get into because a lot of this stuff takes time for it to really kick in. And we'll talk about the changes in the body too. That's happening. So,
let's start with what happens to hair during menopause.
Yeah. So your hair is in a constant cycle. So, we'll go through the three phases that from birth up until, and you go through other hormonal stages, like when I was pregnant. For those of you who have children, you get on your prenatals, your hair starts feeling really healthy, really thick, and then you have a baby. And then your hair falls out. So if you can think about that time, if this did happen to you, if you've gone through this, you think about how, again, that hair was growing, nourishing, it looked healthy. And then you have the baby, you go through the hair loss, you're going in the shower, your clumps of hair are coming out, and you go through that stage. It's largely the stress, the hormones leaving the body, and then the stress that post-pregnancy puts on your body, right? So if you think about what happens during that 9-month time period, and how we are now going through this phase of perimenopause or menopause on a much longer time frame, right? So you can be in perimenopause to menopause for years. And that stage is a longer stage than what you went through like during pregnancy. So if that's relatable to you and we think about what's happening maybe in this life stage, it's just a prolonged age or cycle of hair. So,
and to put that in perspective, I heard the other day that they reckon that you're in menopause between actual menopause 7 to 10 years. And so that peri is pre that, but 7 to 10 years of your life going through this cycle of your hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that puts it in perspective. So buckle up, ladies. Okay. So our hair health is deeply connected to estrogen. So I know that we have heard so much about hormone therapy, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in small detail later. But estrogen is really what keeps your hair in that growth phase, right? So when people in the community were like, my hair won't stay on my head. Why does my hair feel like it doesn't grow? Well, estrogen is the hormone that's related to that. So as we start going through our phases and your estrogen starts to dip, and if you're not on hormone replacement therapy, guess what? Your hair is not going to grow like it did in your youth. You know, when you were constantly getting your hair cut and when you had this like really healthy hair moment, that's not, that growth phase is cycling out.
So I like equations being the coach.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing estrogen going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Estrogen going down plus stress of what is our body is going through peri and actual menopause equals.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Equals the hair loss. Yeah.
Can you feel the hair loss and the slow growth phase, right?
Yeah.
So with that, I feel like this is really going to be a downward spiral for our listeners. So with that, we also are going through a collagen decrease. So we talk about collagen decrease all the time on our skin, right? So you could be getting on your vital proteins or your collagen supplements, and you want that plumpness and that glow in your skin. Well, your scalp is an extension of your skin. So if you're not having the right amount of collagen, it's not going to support a healthy scalp and hair growth. So you have the estrogen working to your disadvantage. You have lack of collagen in decline, unless you're supplementing. That's also working against you. So that's another trigger that, we have to be mindful of. And that collagen helps with that healthy circulation and scalp health, which I know scalp health is such a buzzword right now. You see a lot of hair care brands out there that talk about scalp health. That's a whole other episode in itself. We can't unravel that today. But that's largely another reason of why you're experiencing decreased satisfaction with your hair.
Well, it makes me think about the scalp like soil. When I'm growing vegetables, I'm almost thinking right now of how you have to have the nutrients in that soil. You need to care for it, that soil, by adding water and giving it the things it needs, like the sunshine and even turning that soil over in order for those vegetables to grow.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I mean, that's how we should look at it. I think we are good at looking at our skin that way and taking care of our skin. But a lot of times our scalp is sort of like, it's second-rate citizen. You're not looking at it the same way until you have a major problem with your hair. And then you're like, oh gosh, I need to do something. But the challenge with your scalp versus like your skin is if you go through a stressful time, you may not see the results of that impacting your hair until about 2 to 3 months later.
Okay.
So be mindful, like if you are having hair distress and you're like, well, whatever I'm going through right now is normal in my life. Rewind like 2 to 3 months and think about, was something going on in my life that maybe triggered this traumatic hair moment, right? Because that's largely what that could be related to, amongst other factors. And we'll get into some of those factors later, but it could have been a previously stressful, like people will, if they've had a death in the family or divorce you think your life is back on stable groundish, it probably, your hair loss, it takes 2 to 3 months for that to kick in and have those factors sort of bubble up and equate to what your hair is going through.
Which is very different to the skin, because the skin, you'll have a blemish or a pimple or an outbreak pretty much, or a reaction pretty much immediately.
Yes. Yep.
So hair
takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. On both sides of the spectrum too. So if you are starting supplements or some other, things that could help with hair growth, you really need to be dedicated.
Yeah.
And I think that's a large problem. A lot of women can't stick with a regimen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't stick with it, it is not going to work, because once you start some of these treatments, it could take 4 to 6 months for you to see the results. And so a lot of people just give up because they are like, oh, I tried it for like a month. It didn't work. Well, if you don't stick with it, you're not going to see the results. So that's the
Some
hard part.
accountability here.
Yes. Yeah, I know. So again, like I said, buckle up. It's going to be a journey for you to get the hair that you want. Okay. So the lower estrogen levels can contribute to decreased circulation in your scalp, which we talked about. The hair follicles and the active structures, they require oxygen, nutrients, blood supply, and energy to be in that healthy, productive phase, or that growth phase, right? So when that circulation decreases, that's when the follicles may not be the same nutrient delivery as it once did. So that's why those stressors, that's the science of how that happens. And then that contributes to the weaker growth and that progressive thinning that you're continuing to see. So one of the most overlooked causes of menopause-related hair change is that collagen depletion. It shows that 30% of collagen, women lose 30% of collagen thickness within the first 5 years after menopause. Wow. Yeah. And then followed by 2% every year thereafter.
Oh, great. Thanks, Menopause.
Yeah, awesome. You're the best.
Give us that nice amount, first of all, of, hey, 30%, and then 2% every year.
Yeah, then bam.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure your Instagram feeds, your social feeds, they are full of collagen type items, right? And the thing about collagen is there was some reviews out there that were like, oh, collagen supplements don't really work. But there is a large amount of data there now that largely supports it. So today, the things that we're going to talk about is we're only going to talk about the data supported options, because if there's not enough science around it, I just don't feel comfortable recommending it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work. There's just not enough data yet to support it.
Well, it's my mind went straight away to like like scalp exfoliation. Yep. And now you've got these specific massage places for your scalp.
Yep.
Now I'm sure
like
they
scalp
probably
facials.
help. I'm sure that it's like anything, that if you are doing something beyond your regular care, it is probably going to help in some way.
Yes.
But I'm assuming they're not scientifically backed.
Right. So, I mean, that scalp circulation is the thing. This is a little off topic, but I think we programmed ourselves into buying products that didn't have sulfates in them. So sulfates are soaps, right? In a lot of our shampoos and conditioners, you'll read the bottle and say sulfate free, sulfate free. So meaning that it's going to help preserve your hair color. It will help reduce the damage, because those abrasive salts, like if you think about Dawn dish soap and how that works, right? Yeah. Like all those suds, and it strips your pots and pans of the grease and the oils that are on that. Well, that's sort of how shampoo works. And if you think about into our youth, when we used to shampoo our hair, and remember when it used to be squeaky, right? And it would be so clean, it would almost feel dry. And that was like sulfates were in every shampoo when we grew up. Well, then, a lot of stylists and people started saying like, no more sulfates. You got to take them out. Well, here's something to be said for that. At least once a week, you need to clarify your hair. You need to use a shampoo with sulfates in it. Especially, I have fine hair, and you may notice that you shampoo your hair once, and then you also hear influencers talking about like the double wash.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing the double wash is because they have to break through that first initial layer of oils that your hair naturally builds, or could be due to your products that you're using, to get through that first layer. And then you wash it again with that sulfate-free shampoo to actually have it work. Okay. Well, you're using a lot of product doing that. And you just need a good cleansing of the hair. So there's brands like Bumble. They do a Sunday shampoo. That's a clarifier. Paul Mitchell has a shampoo that's I think it's like number 1, or I can't remember the number, but it's a clarifying shampoo. You can find other clarifying shampoos that have some sulfates in them, or even like a good hotel shampoo sometimes, a cheap old shampoo that has some sulfates in it. But even the mass brands now, like we manufacture for some of the basic mass brands that are out there, even they are taking the sulfates out. So my public service announcement today for all of you is, please, once a week, deep clean your hair. Deep clean it once, and that's to break down those oils, really can help make a difference for your health of your scalp, and help, like you said, that soil be better so you can encourage better growth.
Yeah.
So Yeah, scrub a dub.
And I feel like you just do start to feel that build up. You do.
Yeah. And there's scalp scrubs. I'm not a huge scalp scrub fan. They're okay,
They
but
get a little stuck in there.
They get a little stuck in there. They're a little gritty. I don't think it's a great user experience, and you can get there with the sulfates.
Yeah.
So that's
we are dispelling myths.
Yeah.
We are sharing our hacks.
Yes. And the number one shampoo in the world is dandruff shampoo. And it grows every year. And, we make a lot of dandruff shampoo at our company. And people are like, why? Why do we sell so much dandruff shampoo? I'm like, because your hair is dirty.
Yeah.
And you get the itchy scratchies because you're not cleaning your hair. Now, it can be because of other things. Certain seasons can make your scalp more itchy and scratchy. You could have other, dermatological conditions that make your scalp scratchy. But we're not cleaning our scalp enough, and that's why you're itchy. So do yourself a favor. Okay. Back to the topic.
You're now on topic.
This is why I had to take notes, guys, because I can go on for days. Okay. So we talked about the collagen. Let's see.
And I think that's a really good quote actually here, that hair aging is not simply cosmetic, but it reflects deeper structural and hormonal changes occurring throughout the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even just as you talked about the dandruff there, is acknowledging that, okay, there may be something underneath that is creating the dandruff, but also what we're doing with our hair washing routines is not then further helping that.
Yeah, it's not further helping. So that collagen decline can make the hair strands feel finer. So maybe you are feeling this. It can be weaker. It can be drier. It'll be more brittle, and it will be more prone to breakage. So again, ladies, get on board with the collagen. All right. But then the collagen also affects the scalp itself. So a thinner scalp could release to reduced circulation stimulation of the scalp and that blood flow, and then it weakens the follicles over time. So collagen loss. Yeah, collagen loss is a big thing. So if you're not on a collagen supplement, you may want to check that out. Okay. But if you are concerned, please talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to say that a lot during this episode. Okay.
So now, can you tell us a little bit more about understanding the hair growth cycle, Jen?
Yep. So the 3 phases of the cycle that you're constantly going through. There's adagen. That's the growth phase. Okay. So that's like when we're young and you feel like you have to get your hair cut all the time. And people say, gosh, your hair grew so fast. It's so long. Do you remember that? Okay.
I like that phase.
That's
my favorite phase. This
is
the phase my dog's in right now.
Right.
He is very hairy. He can't stop growing his
You're
hair.
always at the groomer.
And I can't get him in the groomers until mid-June.
Right.
So
he's going to have an afro. Yeah. And then catagen is that transition phase. And then telogen is that resting and shedding phase. So when you think about when you were younger and you would go through that phase where, and I think here in the States, I don't know if you guys, like we would talk about the phases that you thought your hair was going through, like in seasonality, like summer and winter. Like we felt like, there was really no data to prove this, but when you're younger, you can acknowledge these phases. You feel that you're like, gosh, my hair is really strong and healthy. And then you go through the shedding phase, right?
Yeah.
So if that's relatable to you, that's what these phases are. You just notice them at different times. We always thought it was around seasonality, but the reality is it's just your hormonal changes that you're going through as you age.
That's really interesting. I notice actually in England, the water is softer than it is here.
Oh, yeah.
And that would really affect my hair.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
I know it's a huge transition. We're moving here and then washing it.
Yes.
It used to be light and fly away. And
for a volume.
Yeah.
That those minerals can really weigh it down. It can make your color look brassy.
Yeah.
It can make your hair feel much more coarse, and it can lack volume because of that. So if you are thinking that you could have your water tested, if you have hard water, you could do a water softener, or there's, attachments you can buy at the store, those filters that can help break down some of those minerals as well. Okay. So those hormonal shifts, no, it's okay. It's fine.
Sorry.
Those hormonal shifts, they shorten each growth phase, right? So when we had these longer phases in our youth, as we get older, those phases shorten. So we go through those cycles quicker, and then it becomes a lot more apparent of those big swings. And that's when you notice, like, God, I'm losing a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair in the drain. There's a lot of hair in my brush because those cycles shorten. And it pushes more hair out during that shedding mode phase.
Oh, yeah. So it's not that we experience a shedding mode more frequently, it's that our cycles of the hair transitions are shorter.
Yes.
And then
each cycle becomes a little bit more obvious.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, that's a lot working against us. Okay. So that's sort of the growth cycle. So we understand how that happens.
Yep.
And then as we move into the most common causes within the menopause phase, the most common one that you've probably heard is alopecia. So alopecia it's actually androgenic alopecia. That's the women's version, because men can also have alopecia, but androgenic is the women's version. And it's the most common type of hair loss during menopause. So what that looks like is it would be like a widening part. So you'll see women that have a wider part here than what they used to. It could be thinning at the crown. It would be diffuse thinning. So maybe you have parts, like a lot of people see them like maybe on the sides. You'll get more thinning here or there. So it could be areas or of thinning throughout the scalp, and then that receding hairline that you see a lot of women go through too. So as estrogen declines, androgens, including testosterone, here's our other one that we talk about, HRT, becomes more dominant, right? So the testosterone converts into DHT, and I won't go too deep into all of that.
Dihydrotestosterone.
Yes, right. Yeah. And it shrinks the hair follicle. So this is shrinking the hair follicle over time. And to the point where it matures, where it's just old. It's not going to work as well. So that doesn't happen overnight, but it's that cycle of phase that slowly comes upon our scalp, and they just produce finer, weaker strands. So you were saying at the beginning that you felt like your hair is thicker, but a lot of women feel like they're just, their hair just feels thin and weak. Well, that's testosterone kicking in. So when you have those hormone levels that are a little wonky, where the estrogen's dropping, the testosterone's coming up, that hormonal roller coaster is causing havoc on your hair. So if you are feeling that, you definitely could go to the doctor and have your hormone levels tested, and they may be able to help if that's something that you're interested in. They can help you get a plan and supplement where you have those highs and lows, and that can help level out, your hair loss. I mean, another big thing that we'll get into as well is thyroid.
Yeah.
So if you don't get your thyroid checked regularly, please get it checked out, because I had a thyroid issue. I had a partial removal after my son was born, and I was losing hair by the buckets. Yeah. And it was a really tough time for me, because I'm in the beauty industry. People look at my hair all the time because we're talking hair. And I was beside myself. I was in tears. I was losing so much hair. I don't have a lot of hair to begin with. So for me to be losing the handfuls of hair, and I didn't realize I had a thyroid problem. And then once I got it figured out, they put me on a supplement for my thyroid. It leveled out, but it took a while to get it right too. And that was an emotional roller coaster. So another thing, if you're checking your hormones, please also think about getting your thyroid levels checked, because that can be a huge swing on hair loss.
Well, and I also think, because I was saying to you about my hair feels like, my hair's very fine, but at the moment it feels like I've got lots of it. But I also wonder if it's like the last hurrah, like we're at that age where I feel like, okay, maybe it's the surge of hormones to then really kind of start going down.
Yeah.
And this has made me think differently about collagen supplements, because I have not been taking any, but I feel like it is a good way to help control what is happening.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a miracle, but we're already losing it in our skin. So it certainly cannot hurt for you to take the collagen. And there's good data behind it. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is stress-related shedding, right? So that's telogen ethylene.
Yep.
Stress-related shedding. So we've all gone through, we talked about the hormonal shifts, poor sleep, and we've talked about sleep a lot here. If you're not getting your 8 hours or have trouble sleeping, if you're that baseline of good sleep is going to also cause havoc on your hair. Anxiety, illness, surgery, weight loss, emotional stress. And again, like we talked about, some of these factors, they will not show up until 2 to 3 months later.
Wow.
So you could go through some of these things that we just mentioned, but your hair may not experience them until 2 to 3 months later. So
that's just wild to me.
Then you'll ask yourself, like, what is going on? I'm fine. Like nothing's really going on. Well, the effects of that have happened much earlier.
It's almost like you can't then connect the dots there.
Right. And that's really the problem. Yeah. Yeah. So stress-related shedding also can be a trigger. So just be mindful of what's going on and try to get that sleep. Try those stress-related, reducers, whether it's meditation or yoga or breathing or getting outside. We've talked about a few of those on the podcast. You know what is your groove. Find your groove for decompression. So that can also help a lot.
Well, and I suppose your body at that time is helping to get your body in a state of calm, in some sort of benefit, like as in, okay, I suppose I'm going back to the zebra now.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Again, for people here in the States, zebra equals zebra here.
And how that zebra has that one moment of stress. Okay. So it doesn't have that prolonged effect. But for us as humans, having prolonged stress, your body is then helping your body recover from the stress.
Right.
Doesn't care about the hair.
Yeah.
The hair's like, hey.
Right.
Don't care about you.
Yeah.
Need to get my body back in check.
Right.
Need to make sure this body's healthy and surviving.
Yeah. And it's stressful trying to manage the stress, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, okay, don't stress. And then I'm stressful about the stressing that I think I'm stressing about.
Yeah.
So
it's like a real vicious cycle. It really is.
All right. So we talked about a lot of the factors. There's other factors out there, but we touched on, majority of them that are the triggers for dissatisfaction with your hair.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's out there and what actually works, because there is a lot of noise. I know that
a lot of noise.
My socials and the influencers that I follow, everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
There's something always new. There's a lot of voodoo
collagen powder. There's this collagen gummy. There's, you must massage your scalp every night. Buy one of these devices.
Yes. Yeah.
That your hair actually gets all tangled up in. So you actually lose your hair that way because it's all cut up in it.
Right. So we talked about a couple episodes ago, we talked about like wellness and supplements and how you can over supplement and we become like victims of the latest and greatest, again, that hope in the jar or that solution. And it's a little crazy, right? So how do you simplify that routine? Now, there's a lot of hair supplements on the market, like Nutrafol. And I personally have not tried Nutrafol. I know friends that have tried it and some people have really liked it. Some people haven't. I haven't surveyed them to ask them what they did or did not like about it. But I would say largely, I know it can be a little costly. And it goes back to if you don't stick with it for 4 to 6 months, you may not see the results. So there is no quick answer.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes that long, right?
And that's an investment. That's an investment.
It's an investment.
In
it can be
finances
expensive.
And also time.
Right. And you have to take it every day. Like if you're one of those people like, oh, I forgot to take it today, and you only take it 3 days out of the 7, it's not going to give you the results that you want. So if you are into supplementation and you want something are these, hybrid supplements that are geared towards hair care, you just have to know on the front end, be committed.
Yeah.
So the reason I have not tried Nutrafol for me specifically is I am sort of an a la carte supplement gal. Like I don't do like a multivitamin because there's certain supplements that I feel like I get enough through my Whole Foods. And then there's some that I know that I probably deplete quicker or I want to have more within my system. So I sort of choose my own.
Yeah.
So if you're going to choose your own, protein. So not as a supplement per se, but protein is so important for hair growth. So there's a lot of data out there that you need X amount of grams per day. It could be a gram per pound or at least 100 grams. You do you on what you have learned about protein, but protein is the number one thing for a good basis for hair growth. Okay.
Protein's good for a lot, right?
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's the thing.
Yeah. So iron. So make sure an iron supplement. The thing you have to be careful about iron supplements is do your research, is a lot of them have interaction with other medications or supplements that you're taking. So when I take iron, some studies show you don't need to take it every day. So I try to take it every other day, but I'm not good about doing it. And I try to get my iron through most of my Whole Foods. So red meat has a lot of iron. I don't eat a ton of red meat. And that's probably why I need to supplement a little bit more when I have my blood work done. My iron's always low. Leafy greens. Yeah.
Great. A lot of legumes.
But you need a lot of leafy greens. Like you're going to be like even garden.
Yeah.
Like if you need to get your iron levels up depending on where you're at. So,
well, and you also need to think about your absorption of the iron as well,
yes,
right?
That's
so
what
you
I was
have to
say.
mix it with vitamin C.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Vitamin is vitamin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vitamin is vitamin, people. I love you. But we do have international listeners. So
we do
have international listeners. So I will take my iron supplement like after dinner. Like I don't take it around. You're not supposed to have it with like caffeine. So I drink a lot of tea. So, I take it at night with like a little bit of orange juice.
Okay.
So be mindful on when and where and how to take iron. Vitamin D,
Vitamin D,
vitamin D, zinc, omega-3 fatty acids. Like, again, that's going to be good for anti-inflammatory. It's good for heart health, but also good for scalp health. B vitamins. I put ashwagandha on here. I mean, mushrooms are definitely having a moment. But ashwagandha really as a stress measure, because that can help reduce stress. And if you are having stress-related hair loss, that may be a good supplement for you to look at to help curb that and maybe help with that stress-related shedding. And then we talked about thyroid panel in terms of professional resources out there. Your blood levels for sure, get a full panel, thyroid level, your vitamin D levels, hormone testing.
Tell me about this spironolactone.
Yes. Okay. So let me back up. Once you are through perimenopause and menopause, there is a blood pressure medicine that can be used off label. So off label means that the FDA, they put a guideline in place of how a drug should be used. But doctors can say, we've used this drug in another way, and they can give it to someone for another reason. So it's a blood pressure medication, but through testing, this blood pressure medication showed that in postmenopausal women, it can slow hair loss down and result in a thicker hair, up in some cases up to 40 to 60%. But you have to take it for at least 6 months, and then once you go to see the results, but once you go off of it, your hair very much or may likely go back to where it was before. So think about that commitment before you go on a medication like this. And I think I'm saying this right, but it's spironolactone. Spironolactone. Yes. Well, it will be in the notes. And then if you want to talk to your doctor about it, it could be a thing.
It confirms again that whole thing of it taking time, right?
Yep.
For them to say, hey, we've found that we can use this off label, but it can take up to 6 months to work.
Right.
And if you stop taking it, your hair could fall out again. Just shows you that even with a prescribed medication, that we're following this same trend as if you are going through stress. Or you're starting to take a supplement. So the science is there that it takes time with hair.
Yeah. And ladies, do not give this to any men in your life, because when men use this as a hair supplement, it can cause man boobs. So don't say, hey, I listened to Unravel Uplift, honey, and you should get in the supplement, because I'm sure their doctor would stop that.
Unless you want them to have man boobs.
That's true. I mean, to each their own, really. If you're into that, sure. Okay, moving on. The other thing that a lot of people are doing, like I personally get the vampire facials, and sometimes I get them with the PRP, which that is the platelet rich. So you'd get a blood draw at your esthetician or your doctor, wherever you're getting this done, and then they spin that blood to take the plasma out of that blood, and then they put that plasma either back on your skin through microneedling, or they can inject it with a needle into your scalp.
Oh wow!
Yes. And the data behind that also shows a lot of really positive results for, re-supporting that hair health and with thinning and shedding. So you could also talk to your dermatologist, or you could talk to your med spa about PRP treatments for your scalp. And that would be fine for men and women.
And that makes sense to me, because earlier on we talked about vascularity. Okay, so that vascularity, and it's not
the blood flow.
Yeah, the blood flow's not there. So actually taking what you already have, which is good quality, spinning it, putting it back in there to almost increase that vascularity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that could be an option, but they are costly.
Yeah.
So, and again, you'll have to stick with them. So come and feed here. Go ahead. You're going to say something?
I'm just, all of this is making me think about how healthy hair starts internally, not externally.
And everything starts internally, right? That's why eating whole foods and taking good care of your body is so meaningful to everything that we see on the outside, whether it's your skin, whether it's your hair, whether it's aging. Like, you have to take care of all those things.
And I think we don't think about that because we see our hair externally. And I don't think we think about how we almost promote that healthiness from within.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
it's just there. And we always look at it as it's there to protect our body because that's what hair is designed to do.
Yep.
And so it's almost like you don't think about how you need to feed inwardly to make it healthy and support
and that
it.
it takes time. It takes time for it to kick in.
Yeah.
So another big one out there that's been out there for years is minoxidil, aka Rogaine. Rogaine is the brand name that's out there. There's a lot of off brands out there. You can get it at Costco, Target, drugstores. Now, this is an FDA drug, so it is a drug, and it's a topical drug, but the clinicals behind it are solid. It works very well, but it does take time. It is one of the most studied drugs out there for hair loss, so that could be something that if you want to try. It comes in a couple different formats, and how it works is it improves the circulation, again, like we talked about on the scalp. It extends that growth phase. We talked about those 3 cycles. It extends that growth phase. And then it keeps those follicles working and active longer. So that's how the science works with minoxidil. But again, we need consistency. You need to be patient for about 3 to 6 months, and you need to use it daily or, as you wash your hair.
And then no overnight transformation with any of these.
No, none of these. No. And then that temporary shedding may happen first. So once you start using it, your system sort of does a little shock phase and you may start seeing more hair loss, but you just have to push through. And hopefully if you stick with it, then you'll get the results that you're looking for. Now on the market, you'll see 2 different versions. There's a version marketed towards men that has a 5% of the active. And then there's a version for women that's a 2.5 active. I don't know why there's 2 versions. Do not buy the women's version. To do the 5, you're going to get better results, quicker. They come in a foam and a serum. For me personally, I think the foam is easier to apply. Make sure you wash your hands after because you don't want hair to start growing on your extremities. Or if it drips on your face, like make sure that you clean up after that use. So, and just read the directions, right? In Korea, there's actually a roll-on version.
Oh, wow.
Which would be amazing, right? Because the hardest part about using the foam or the serum with Rogaine is like placing it right. Because it is sort of hard to do in the mirror on your own. And the drips.
Yeah.
Where a roll-on application, you could see how you could follow a scalp line, where you're thinning. So I'm hoping that, it can take a while for drugs and applications to be approved, but I'm hoping that will come to the States as an application and that will be amazing. Or go to Korea and buy some.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rogaine could be minoxidil could be a really good option if you are experiencing thinning. That would be another option. Hormone support, we talked about that a little bit, that can really improve your hair quality. If you want to look at HRT, it will help with that density, that thickness. So
I heard you just say quality there though. So is that a big, is that a big distinguisher that it's more about the quality than the volume?
Yeah. And I think it's like, I guess when I say the quality, it means like the overall health of your hair, right? Like we talked about how you will start shedding. It can become dry. It will be the texture. People complain about their texture changing. That is strongly related back to your hormones. So if you have not had your hormones tested, there's a lot of places that you can do it online now. So you have to go in for a blood draw, but then they'll work with you remotely if you don't want to go into a doctor's office. There's so many options out there. Now that they removed that black box for hormone therapy for women, it has changed so many women's lives that either go through hot flashes or the hair loss or the variety of things that hormone havoc can cause.
I like that description. Hormone havoc.
Yeah. You just might want to get it checked out so then you know what you're dealing with instead of thinking that you're going crazy, right? Hot flashes, all the things. It's just nice to know where your levels are. So, okay, red light therapy. That's a new one. We talked about that in
skincare. That for skincare a lot. I mean, I have my little red light therapy mask that I wear.
Yeah. So they do this for scalp care too. So maybe you've seen that they have like the ball cap type ones, right? They have red light therapy brushes. They have laser combs. They have like a helmet, if you will. And there is a lot of really new, exciting data out there on red light therapy for the scalp specifically. Like we've seen it for the skin and the body. Like there's tanning salons. I say that in quotes for those people who are listening, but like where they've transitioned maybe some of that space into red light therapy. there's certain workout facilities that have red light rooms.
Yeah.
So, but specifically for the hair, there is some good data out there that says for men and women that red light therapy for the scalp can really help stimulate the mitochondria around the scalp and create a better, healthy environment for hair to have a better success to grow.
Is that more of like a kind of proactive measure? You know, like how we talk about the supplements.
Yes.
I suppose I'm kind of seeing the supplements and the red light here maybe as more of a proactive measure to help keep your hair where it's at, that sustainability, that healthiness, along with the nutrients, obviously the vitamins and that balance.
Yeah.
And then some of these others are more like if you start experiencing these things, or if you have been experiencing them and you want a bit more of a controlled, I want to get my hair back. I want to stop this.
Yeah.
More the Rogaine, the other
minoxidil.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one and the same. That's the brand name versus the drug itself.
And the hormone support, maybe the kind of vampire facial for your head.
Yes. Yeah. I think that it's better to be proactive than reactive. So if you're in that stage where you're still in your 20s or 30s and you haven't really hit that major collagen decline, like start those collagen supplements as soon as you can, like in your 20s or 30s, because you're going to go through that decline. And the same, and you know that if you can do red light therapy when you're younger, I mean, I'm not talking about like these children who are going to Sephora and buying all these products that are anti-aging, but like by the time that you're in your 30s, you should proactively start using red light therapy and do your collagen supplements. And now when you're in your 40s or pushing your 50s, like, yeah, get on board now. It's not too late. It can't hurt. So, and there's the data around it to support it that it can help reduce, you know, and help maintain an environment where you can be set up for more success with your hair health.
And I suppose that's the difference, right? 10 years ago, we didn't have this data.
Right. Yeah.
It was people still trying things, trial and error.
Yeah.
And now we have the data.
Yeah.
There's the science behind it to say there are options.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
we're also a bit more vocal, aren't we, about what's happening to women during menopause now as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's that less of that suffer in silence.
For sure.
I still see there are the suffer in silence, but less of it because it's become okay to talk about it.
Right. For sure. Yeah. So that red light therapy is going to give increased circulation, right? Because we talked about that blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and then better nutrient flow to the follicle. So just keeping, like you said, you use that really good analogy on the garden. It's like just keeping that soil, you know, your scalp in the best health to set it up for success, to have that growth. And then we talked about...
I'm noticing here as well, sorry, Jen, that on our, like, I'm just looking at our notes as well, because this is a great learning for me, because I thought I knew somewhat about healthcare, but not as much as you've just added a lens. It's making it a lot simpler for me to understand what I need to do to have healthy hair. But some helpful practices are things like gentle scalp massage, reducing the heat styling. I can completely see that.
Yeah, we can be very heat and chemical dependent for our hair, which really can cause a lot of damage. Yep.
Anti-inflammatory scalp care. And then avoiding tight hairstyles.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the side braid.
Yes.
I'm very much like the loose side braid instead of the tight
ponytail.
Yeah.
You'll start noticing all those little breakages if your ponytail gets too tight.
Snag free
elastics. Yeah, that's another good one.
Scrunchies or silk ones.
Yeah, just be kind. Be kind to your hair. Yeah. Or the silk pillowcases. You're not having that like abrasiveness when you are like sleeping, or instead of using like a regular body towel, use a microfiber towel because it won't pull on your hair as much. If you're one of those that wrap your towel around your hair, the towel is that abrasiveness that pulls on your hair when it's wrapped up and twisted. A microfiber towel, like those towel turbies, I think is one of the brands.
Yeah.
You can find them on Amazon. Like that's a kinder way to, especially if you have curly hair that really needs to be treated softly so you don't get frizz. Microfiber towels can be another good thing that help just a little bit more kindness.
The younger generation have this down.
They do.
Like even sleeping in the silk caps.
Yeah, the bonnets. Yeah.
They'll sleep in the bonnets. They'll have the silk pillowcases for their skin and their hair.
Yes.
Everything's a silk scrunchie.
Yeah, they're going to be way better off than we were. Yeah.
Using the heat-resistant products.
Yes.
I mean, I never used any of those.
No, they weren't around.
Yeah.
They weren't around.
I did stop using a straightener, though, years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I noticed a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I do also let my hair air dry quite a bit as well. I will try and do the hair dry with the roots to get that little bit of, especially when it's colder here.
Yeah.
You don't want to get a cold.
Right.
Because you obviously lose so much heat from your head. But then I will try and let my hair dry naturally.
Yeah. It makes a big difference. Yeah. All of those stressors. I mean, you think about some of those flat irons and curling irons, or even those hot air brushes. I mean, the temperature coming out of those can be over 300 degrees. I mean, you can bake cookies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's just think about that. What you're doing to your poor cuticles on your hair when you're blasting it or ironing it with that heat over time, it's going to dull the hair. It's going to weaken the hair. It's going to give you split ends. So use those thermal sprays. They do work. It's not going to be a guarantee, but they can work. So
be kind to your hair.
Yeah. Be kind to your hair.
So tell us what doesn't work, okay?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
all that
I
noise.
feel like I've just learned a lot there about what does, and that's really helpful. And hopefully our listeners are also finding that helpful. And hopefully the people that were brave enough to put in our Facebook community, hopefully that's helped you understand some of the things that might be helpful as you go through these periods of transition with your hair.
Yeah.
But what doesn't work?
Yeah. So the red flags for me are miracle cures. When you see these people on your socials talk about like, oh, my hair grew 3 inches in 3 weeks. Or like, that's not going to work. That is voodoo. These miracle gummies or miracle supplements. I mean, maybe they'll work just like light therapy. I would think rewind 15 years ago, 20 years ago, to think that light would be a solution for your skin and face. You'd be like, no, right? So maybe these quote miracle gummies that are out there now do make a difference, but there's not enough data to support it. And so like today, we're only talking about things that have enough science around them that we feel confident that we can share them with you guys. I'm not saying these don't work, but there's just not enough data for us to support them here on this show today.
So just try them at your own peril. We're not saying don't or do, but they're things that aren't evidence or science backed.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of expensive shampoos out there that that are going to help. And some of those can be a temporary fix. Like there's bonding shampoos, like you'll see brands like Olaplex. And now there's even some of the value channels that have these bonding shampoos. And what that's doing is it's sort of sealing the cuticle, right? So it's a temporary fix. It's not really helping with your hair health, but it's giving a temporary seal, like a top coat, if you will, on your hair. And like how we have our nails look, where there's a top coat and looks healthier. That bonding shampoo is doing the same thing by smoothing that cuticle so that it appears healthier. And they can work, but they can build up over time too. So for me, if I use a brand like Olaplex, for example, I can only really use it once a week. I don't use it all the time because over time it does make my hair look worse, if you will, because there's a lot of protein in it. And if you have if you have very porous hair, this is a whole other podcast too, but if you look up hair, like the porosity of your hair, if you're outside or you go to a restaurant that has a lot of restaurant smells, or if you're at a campfire and let's say you go somewhere else, you're like, oh my God, my hair smells like
porous hair.
My hair is extremely porous. So I can pick up any smell in my hair and it will stick with it. Well, if your hair is really porous, all of those things that you put in the hair, they're going to absorb at a greater detail. Yeah. So for me, if I put too much protein, like you'll see keratin hair care, you'll see wheat proteins for volumizing. There's a lot of quinoa. There's a lot of these proteins. If I use too much protein in my hair, maybe for a couple days, it'll look good. But if I OD on the protein, my hair will turn into straw.
Yeah.
Because the cuticle has absorbed so much of that protein that it has a reverse effect. So get to know what your hair responds to and don't continue to overdose. Like we talk about microdosing here. So just be careful.
Microdose your hair care.
Right. So just be really careful and mindful of what you're putting in the hair because sometimes more can be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I know I've always switched my shampoos up on the day, but I'm like that with my skincare as well. I will switch everything up daily. So I'll have several products all working at once just because I heard years and years ago it was good for your skin and your hair not to get used to it. So I suppose I'm just thinking, Jen, not trying to take us off topic, but dry shampoo. I use a lot of dry shampoo. We talk about how you'll need to use dry shampoo. So I'm assuming from what you've said there, dry shampoo is great to use as long as you are doing your clarifying once a week.
Yeah.
Because if not, I can imagine the build up just from that
Right.
alone.
It's balance, right?
Yeah.
So the dry shampoo can save you from overstyling and putting more chemicals in your hair and putting more heat on your hair. So like you wash and then the next day maybe you don't wash, but use the dry shampoo to help you save time, sanity, and then also the damage that you could be putting on your hair. But then too much dry shampoo will build up over time.
Yeah.
And if you're not clarifying your hair, that dry shampoo is just going to build up at your scalp and make your hair look dull.
Yeah.
So we're always, as women, we are always walking this tightrope of what is going to work and how much is too much. When is it too much? How do I find the balance? So again, so just be mindful of, the actions that you're taking. Too much of a good thing can actually be too much of a good thing.
I'm actually saying that word on purpose for my friend Joy.
And then anything on social media that's lacking evidence. If there's really no data behind it, there's a lot of crackpot experts out there or people who profess that they're doctors. Some of the stuff just really isn't real. So just fact check it. So just look into it. If it sounds too good to be true, knowing that we talked today about how much time and a commitment that so many of these processes and solutions take to kick in. If it's promising a miracle, it's probably not real. So,
well, and I'm going to do a real life test because I don't take any collagen supplements. Okay. And I feel like that's something that could fit with my life.
Yeah.
I'm after today going to start and we're going to see in 6 months time where we're at with my hair health.
Yeah. You'll see it in your skin. You'll see it in your nails. Right. So overall it will be a win-win.
We're going to revisit this 6 months in.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep accountable.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to longevity of it.
So with that said, all of these things that are happening with you, in your hair because of your hormone health or your hormone, levels, it's not your body failing you. It's just your body transitioning, and it's being mindful of that transition and creating that awareness like we're talking about today, and then working with your physician or your doctor to understand where your thyroid is, your hormone levels, so then you can help manage it, or your stress level or your sleep. So all those things we talked about today is just a reaction of what your body's going through.
Well, and I like that, that there's solutions and options, because I feel like there's a grief that's also tied to hair loss that I think we need to acknowledge. Like we mentioned at the beginning, there is an emotional connection with your identity. And I feel like, I know I look in the mirror now and I sometimes don't recognize the reflection that I'm looking at because I feel like I look so different to how I looked 10 years ago. And I think for many women, thinning hair can also feel like aging becoming like visible, but then it has that deeply emotional piece to it as well.
Right.
Like I'm losing my identity.
Yes.
I'm aging. I'm getting older. There's also like a realization, I think, in that, so it carries way more weight than just that cosmetic and appearance factor.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm hearing it's not your body failing you, it's your body transitioning.
Yeah. For sure. Yep. And just knowing that and knowing the resources that are out there. There's a lot of good books out there. If you're a little intimidated by the voodoo, or if you want to dig deeper, a couple books that we wrote down there's the this is a tongue twister, the Menopause Manifesto by Jen Gutner. There's The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Haver, and there's Healthy Hair by Dr. Alan Blumen. So some of those resources that we talked about today, or that data was supported by these books. But if you want to dig deeper and you want to learn more, these books could, give you a little bit more knowledge that, could help in your journey.
And in true Unravel and Uplift style, I would like us to just reflect on one quote here. Menopause is not the end of vitality. It's an invitation to support the body differently. Like, I feel like we've really unpicked this whole world of what is important to our hair health, what connections that we have to it emotionally, physically, what we can be doing to promote natural, healthy growth, and then what we need to do if it's gone beyond that point and we want to regain control of it.
Right.
But I think uplifting now is that our body is changing.
Yeah.
Bodies are changing.
And it's not just you, right? So you're not going crazy. Like, yes, these changes are really happening to you. I mean, we started out this podcast with 2 of 3 women. This is happening to, right? I don't know who that third is, but she's super lucky. Like, who is that third lady that's not having these side effects of, your hormones and everything going on as we age. So you're not alone in this. That's when we talk about some of these things. And it was very clear from our community that this was a big concern. So I'm glad that we got to, unravel that today with you guys. And if you know someone who is talking about their hair being a little unruly or the changes that are going through, please share this episode with them. And, tell them that, yeah, you're not alone in this, that this is real. This is common. It's deeply connected to everything that's going on inside our body.
And I want to just say hair thinning is not vanity, okay? I think that's why we wanted to talk today about this, is that we all have those moments of crisis around our identity and our appearance, okay? But it's happening to a lot of women, a lot of women, and it deserves a conversation, that this is health, biology, identity, emotional well-being, all woven together. It's a very complex mix.
Yep.
So please don't be sat there thinking, oh, I'm really concerned about my hair. That's just me being vain. No, you're going through a transition, and know that other people are as well, and that there are resources and support there available for you.
Yeah. And there's not a magic in a bottle. There's not a one-step solution. Like we talked about, this is going to take time. There's a lot of evidence and data to support some of these things that we talked about today. There's a lot of supportive therapies that are available to help, nourish your body through this transition. And not carry around that like heaviness of that change and how it reflects on the outside.
I want to thank those people that contributed to our Facebook community when we asked, hey, do you have any questions around your health or well-being or anything to do with this kind of beauty and hair industry? And I think if today's episode helped you feel informed or seen, please share it with another woman who may be silently navigating these same changes. I don't believe everyone is as comfortable talking about this or sharing where they're at. So hopefully sharing this podcast might just help someone else, even if they're not being vocal about it.
So until next time, catch up with us on social. Again, like Claire said, we do this because of you guys. If there's something that you guys want to talk about, if there's something that you've heard, whether it's related to, beauty or any other aspect of what we go through in our midlives, send it our way and we will do the research to help unravel it and hopefully give you some tips and tricks to uplift together.
And join us next time when we unravel and uplift together.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.